6 game-changing ways to use ChatGPT to up-level your Airbnb business.
Hi, I'm Sarah Karakayan.
And I'm Annette Grant. And together we are
Thanks for visiting.
We've been hosting for well over a decade, welcomed tens of thousands of guests, and earned thousands of 5-star reviews.
Our portfolio continues to bring in over 1.5 million year over year, and supported not only by the industry's leading brands, but also some of the biggest media outlets.
And we're here to help you with your furnished rental.
I don't know how we did it before ChatGPT was around. So today we're going to show you how we use it to optimize our listing, to enhance our pricing, to really up-level our marketing,
To help us leave guest reviews.
Let's get to it.
Let's dig into tip 1, listing optimization.
Your listing is the way that a potential booker can decide to stay with you. It is very important that it's optimized. And we actually just did a whole, we called it a boot camp, where we got a bunch of people, a lot of you who watch us here on YouTube and who listen to us on the podcast, like joined us, which is really exciting.
Yeah, so make sure that you're a part of our newsletter so you can find out when these next boot camps are
Yeah,
coming.
we'll put the link in the show notes to join that newsletter. But what we learned is I don't care how experienced you are, how long you've been doing this, like everyone who shared their listing with us, there was room for improvement.
And the reason you want to use ChatGPT for this is you should constantly be improving
Yes.
and optimizing your listing. And I mean, ask us, we've been doing this for so long. We've gone in and tweaked our listings over and over again. And sometimes you're just like, you're in search of someone else to help you, some new ideas. And that's where ChatGPT comes in. It's like, oh my gosh, it's a fresh set of eyes, a fresh brain, a fresh perspective. And it's like, it'll help you come up with ideas that you've maybe forgotten about, you can't see. So it's really just bringing on an additional team member to help you re-energize your title, the description. But really, it's just like we get so, in our own lane of doing this over and over again, we kind of lack for new ideas. And it's just infusing so many ideas and helping us along the way.
But don't mistake us for it's not taking the replacement of us and our ideas and like the personality that we bring to our listing. It's not doing that because we are prompting. We are working alongside the AI to help us reframe how we say so that it either flows better or uses different words that might be more engaging, or taking what we've done and saying, hey, have you also thought about this? You're going down this road, you're going down this direction. Here's another way to think about it if you want to go down that road further.
So we have some prompts here with us that we are going to share with you, the prompts that we give ChatGPT to help us with those high converting titles.
Okay, so let's talk about, it just said titles. The input would be, I need an Airbnb title under X characters. Right now it's 50. Airbnb allows us 50. My property is, describe the features. And here, I love using the ChatGPT app because then I can press the little microphone and I can just sit back and just brain dump. All the things I love in my short-term rental. I might look at the reviews and just say all the great things that people are saying in the reviews about it. Like, I can just free flow. A lot of people get choked up when you're in front of the keyboard. Like, I know my husband hates typing, but he can talk obviously much more faster than he can type. So I've showed him the microphone ChatGPT app and it's been so helpful. So the input would be, and I would do this via the app, not necessarily the desktop version, an Airbnb title under 50 characters. My property is, brain dump all the great features, avoid using these specific words. It will then give you some ideas. Like, it'll give you so many bullet points. And then you can say, I want you to take bullet point number 1, 5, 7, and 9 and combine this aspect, and this aspect, right? Like, you can then, it's still you.
You can continue to prompt it. Like, that was the first idea. What's the next idea? The next idea. Sarah, we have the paid version. Can they do this with the free version?
Yeah,
okay, I wanted to make sure.
yeah.
All right.
You can.
And you can do it with other AI tools
Yes.
also.
There's like Gemini with Google. I know there's Claude. A lot of people like Claude. I'm sure by the time you're listening to this or watching this down the road, there'll be so many others. This is just the
But our business bestie right
overarching.
now is ChatGPT.
It is our business bestie. Sometimes you just have to decide on what you're going to use and become an expert at it. All right. The next aspect of how you can optimize your listing with ChatGPT or AI is creating an engaging listing description. There are 2 aspects of your listing description. There is what Annette and I like to lovingly call above the fold. This is what someone can read without clicking on Airbnb, those words show more, okay? And you get 6 lines here. And we believe in not only optimizing the 6 lines, but not cluttering the 6 lines with a lot of fluff and too much like ooey gooey
We'll just
narrative.
say, this is where we like to bullet point. Boom, boom, boom,
I
boom.
do.
And we would be remiss not to tell you that the percentage of users, bookers, potential guests using Airbnb's mobile app is now at 60%. So please be mindful that this above the fold, this smaller section we're getting even less real estate because so many people are searching on mobile.
Yes. So, and to that point, those 6 lines have to be engaging enough and give us all the things that we would need. So like, ooh, this is a high contender. I want to click show more to learn more about it. But this is where you could lose a potential booker. Like you're just like reiterating stuff we already know. It's a 1-bedroom, 2-bath, whatever, overlooking the sloping,
Or you
whatever.
use ChatGPT to write your description but didn't think about how the person is going to be viewing it. And here's the deal. We've seen people that don't even have anything in the description. So please, today, if you don't have something in the description,
fill it out.
Don't do that first.
Actually, again, during our research, we learned that actually having around 800 characters in your description perform better than those that have less. So this is not a TLDR moment out there, okay? There are people who want to know a lot about your listing. So let's get to how ChatGPT can help you. Brain dump everything you love about your property. Provide ChatGPT with guidelines for your tone, your style, and the layout you prefer. The layout we prefer, I can tell you, is to section. When you click show more, and it then opens up a much larger area to share more about your listing. We like to go room by room. So whether it's kitchen, living room, dining room, bedroom number 1, bedroom number 2, bathroom number 1, bathroom number 2, and we'll use those in all caps just to separate it. Then under that, we'll use dashes or bullet points, and then something about that room, right?
Yeah.
Like king
Break it
bed.
down now. Break it
One
down.
dresser with 6 drawers. One closet, we provide 50 hangers. And if I look at it in a glance, if I don't want to read a whole novel about your place, I can see everything that you offer. And so what you could do with ChatGPT is like go in room by room and just talk into your app and let it then make it into bullet points for you so you don't have to. Tell ChatGPT, I have 6 lines. I want this to be something that's really engaging. Highlight the amenities that separate me from my competition. I want it to be something that people can consume visually very fast and get that we are the place for them. So things that you can put up here would be your distance to different landmarks in your area.
For sure.
Amenities that stand you apart from your competition.
Maybe how much an Uber, what public transportation is available, just as much information as you can give for those landmarks that they might be traveling to. Tip number 2 is the guest communication and the hospitality voice. Whew. We all know it is like a never-ending new questions that come in from your guests. Question here, question there, but we know there are new questions popping up each and every day. And maybe there are some questions that you just feel like you've answered a million times, like people wanting to discount, but they ask in like a different way with a different story or a different reason why. And your normal reaction probably doesn't fit the request. If you're like Sarah and I, like we're just gonna say, we probably overthink a lot of times of like, wait, how am I communicating this response? And that's where we go into ChatGPT and have that prompt of like, give them the scenario. This is what the guest is asking. How can I respond with empathy, but a business voice? Just teeing it up and prompting it of how you want to reply. And the really like hidden genius here is it gives you a place to vent.
Yeah.
Like, hey, like it gives you just this outlet. Because a lot of times there's power in the pause, and there's power in pausing instead of just directly responding to a guest. And this guest communication might be someone that's currently in your home, and maybe there's been some friction, So having that pause of just asking ChatGPT to help you along, also kind of like therapy and having like a business bestie, someone that you can bounce ideas off of, this whole conversation of using it to be your business partner.
This is a great area too where it's best to know thyself. For example, I can get a little direct. I can get a little blunt in my response. And it wasn't until someone told me, like, it's actually really good information for me to know because I don't want my guests to feel any other certain way other than I want the best for their stay. And sometimes the best for their stay means saying no to their request.
Because maybe it's a safety, and a lot
Correct,
of
right,
times
something
it's
like
a
that.
safety issue. Maybe they're asking for more guests, or they found
Right.
something. So it always boils down to, the safety and comfort of our guests.
Right.
But
so being able to go to ChatGPT and not only saying, I need to respond to this in a way that's empathetic and professional, but please understand that I tend to be blunt in my responses and I'd like to soften that.
Right.
So also giving ChatGPT a little bit of, here's my weakness, can you help me overcome it?
And what you want to do here, literally, you want to copy paste. You just don't want to give ChatGPT maybe the most recent message. Like if you've had kind of some back and forth with a guest, copy paste all of that so you kind of get the narrative there of like, here's the conversation, this is what's been happening, and then talk it through that way. So don't just describe it to ChatGPT,
No.
like give ChatGPT the conversation. This is where copying, pasting, and giving exactly what's been happening, what your responses have been, what their questions have been.
Yeah. So that's what I would do. I would like pick up my phone, I would be on Airbnb, I would copy the question from the guest, I would then paste it into ChatGPT, and then right when I paste it, I might say at the end of that paste, hang tight before you respond. I want to send you a voice memo of what I want the response to be with some prompts. Press send. Usually it'll say something like, okay, I'll wait for your response. And then I'll press the microphone. And that's where I will brain dump. I will maybe say, I am frustrated because of this, but I want the outcome to be this. I tend to be blunt, but I'd like to be more empathetic and soft in my tone, but professional and firm. So here's what I want the solution to be. Here's what I want them to feel like. And here's what I want to say if you can just take all these prompts and craft me a response. And it's like
Game changer, like
So good.
things that you would have never ever thought of. And people will probably have feelings like about this, but it is the computer response. And so what's great about ChatGPT is they don't have that connection to the home like we do.
Right.
It's not as personal. It's not their biggest investment. So, and that's actually a really great perspective to have and to feed in while you're hosting.
Sometimes I might say, hey, this happened. Here's my perspective. If you were an expert in customer service and seeing it from all angles, am I missing a perspective that my
that's
guests
really
might
good.
see
That's
that
really
I
good.
haven't seen? And I will have a conversation with the computer, having it be my business bestie or being that other perspective of like, hey, let's advocate for the guest. Is there another way for me to think about this that I'm not thinking about because either I'm emotionally attached to the home, maybe I had a really tough morning. Anything can impact our responses. So I would also use ChatGPT to help you think of other perspectives that you're not considering.
And quite frankly, ChatGPT isn't worn down. Maybe it's an issue that you've just had over and over and over again, but your guest doesn't know that, and nor does ChatGPT. So it's just really helpful. We also have ChatGPT help us responding to potential negative reviews. TFV pro tip is always respond to every single review, positive and negative.
Let's dig into that really quick as a little bonus tip for everyone.
All
I was
right.
actually we're advising a property management company right now, and I noticed that they hadn't responded to any of the reviews. And they're like, well, isn't that something a VA could do? And I actually challenge anyone who might think that that's a VA's job. I know when I used to work at a 5-star hotel, Midtown Manhattan, our GM would always respond to every single review on any OTA that mattered, right? Like, it is the GM's responsibility to understand the heartbeat of the hotel, and the response from your customers is the most important pulse that you can pay attention to. So while it feels administrative and repetitive, it is something that I think is imperative for any owner of any business to be a part of that. Maybe down the line, and not that any of you are there yet, but maybe down the line you might have an admin aggregate all the reviews for you in some sort of spreadsheet and what they responded, but at least reviewing them from that point of view, I think it's good to be actually in the dashboard.
So wait, is our new TFE pro tip not only review all the reviews, but you personally review all the reviews of the reviews?
Yes, ma'am.
Who's on first? Who's reviewing the reviews? It's review the review of the review.
It's important.
It is important.
Okay, now I'll get off that soapbox and let's talk about putting the guest feedback or the negative review, again, you guessed it, into ChatGPT. Specify how you want to address the issue while maintaining professionalism, because I'll tell you this, that guest who left that review, your response is not for them. It is for the next guest who is considering your place.
Absolutely.
And so if
Say that
you-
again. Say that again.
Yeah, it's not
important.
the person who left the review. It is for the next person who is, like me,
You are
reading all the
marketing.
reviews.
You are marketing to the person that is potentially going to choose you for their stay. And you know how this goes. all of us have done this recently. All of us have gone to a restaurant, looked at the reviews. All of us have went to Amazon and looked at the reviews. And so it's that future purchaser who is reviewing those. So you are responding, and they are the ones that are going to look at how you responded.
And it's not helpful if you let your emotions of like proving that guest wrong or being like, you are whatever, like their perception's reality.
Yeah, it's not helpful.
No, and I'm telling you, like anyone who promises you that they can remove like Airbnb negative reviews, like is lying to you, because it is the consumer's right to leave a review as long as they actually stayed. Like, I don't want to get into that whole thing here, but getting emotional about it is not going to help you. You need to, if you are at fault or you did something that you can improve on, I usually say, absolutely, the construction noise was loud. Construction ended as of this date. And at this point, this is better, and this is better because of this, whatever. Or the guest is right, the dishwasher stopped working. We weren't able to fix it until after their stay, but we can tell you that we have a new dishwasher installed. If you'd like to see any sort of documentation, if you're concerned, we'd be happy. You know what I mean? Like, to address the issue. And so if you feel yourself getting heated, like literally hot inside when you see a negative review come through, give it to the computer.
It's okay. And it's not
Give it to
if,
the bot.
it's not if, it's when.
Yes.
And it's okay. It's room for improvement. It's room for improvement.
Yes.
Give it to the bot.
Yeah.
Give it to the bot.
Let it help you.
Tip number 3, use it to shop your competition.
What do you mean by shop your competition in that?
You need to know who you're competing with in your market. And look, it's collaboration over competition, but we got to get these lookers to book.
Right, and they want to book with us.
Yes, and so we know everyone here that pays attention to Thanks for Visiting, you're the best in your market. You want to be the best in your market, and the only way you can be the best is if you're shopping your competition. You got to know who you're up against.
So this is what you can do. So go on Airbnb and go to the map view. And if you want, you can filter to other rentals that are similar in bed and bath count to you. And then once those competitors pop up on the map, click into them, go to their reviews, and copy page, I would say 1, page 2, page 3 of their reviews, and then paste it into ChatGPT. And you can do this as much as you like. Maybe you get 3, 4, 5 different competitors. And then once you paste it, before you press enter, you're going to say to ChatGPT, what do guests love about these properties? What complaints are mentioned consistently? What amenities are repeatedly praised? And then you will press enter, and ChatGPT will spit out
your data analyst there.
Yes, it'll aggregate and pull out all the answers to those questions. What guests love, what are the complaints, what amenities are mentioned. And then whatever they complain about, how can I solve that problem? Or maybe I don't have that problem at my short-term rental, so you can use the fact that you don't have that problem in your title, in your above-the-fold listing description, maybe in your photos, you lead with it, whatever that might be, and say, hey, you're going to find this if you book with those guys, but with us, you're not going to have that issue.
And you can use that information that you already got earlier from tip number 1, taking your new description and having ChatGPT do the comparison for you. Hey, here's my listing. Can you take what my listing, what the advantages are versus what the competitors don't have? And it can even help you highlight the things that, again, where you might have blinders on.
Right.
This is where it's the art and the science. You know what you know about your property, but put that description of what you're putting in to the world on Airbnb versus what ChatGPT gave you about the competition and see how you line up. I think that's a helpful way because, again, sometimes we are just too close to our properties.
Or we think something that we have isn't an amenity, or we think it's not special.
Yes.
But once you, again, ask the robot, and then give it all the information of what your competitors are doing.
Should we call it the B&B bot?
The B&B bot.
Ask your B&B bot.
Yeah.
Okay, I like it.
Let's
Oh,
do
we
it.
should create that. Okay.
And then with all that information, another prompt you can feed to your B&B bot is, what amenities do my competitors have that consistently get mentioned? What can I offer that would make my property stand out? So have it give you ideas like, hey, no one's doing XYZ. No one's offering a EV charger. No one has a hot tub in your area.
And yeah, you could even prompt the B&B bot about dollar amounts too. What is an amenity under $250 that I could add that would enhance my property? What is an amenity over? And see if it can like help you come up with things via all of these reviews that you could add to your property. I mean, really, the possibilities are endless. Tip 4, automations and operational efficiencies. Sarah, let's go. Let her rip. I know this is your favorite thing to talk about.
Now, there are endless new plugins and apps if you're using a PMS of like AI that will do this for you.
It's built in.
Great. You pay for it. But we're here to tell you that if you're just using Airbnb, they do offer templates that are built in that you can just fire off when people ask you certain questions. So like Wi-Fi, anything, truly anything. And so you could use ChatGPT to build out these templates for you, plug them into your Airbnb templates, and that way moving forward when guests ask you that question, or if you see you're getting a lot of questions about can I have early check-in, late checkout, we kind of talked about this earlier. You can create the template after ChatGPT tells you what to say, you put it in Airbnb, and then you have it ready to go. As you advance to like a PMS, maybe you're advertising your rental on a lot of OTAs, you get a PMS, you could pay for an AI integration to it, but you could also just, again, do your own templates and then fire them off so that you don't have to think each time, right, and save yourself some money. So you can create automated response templates for common questions, again, like check-in, check-out, Wi-Fi information, the local recommendations, and you can tell ChatGPT to keep it in your voice. And what does your voice mean? I want to give the example, Annette, of Coach Wendy.
Okay.
So we have a coach in our mastery. Her name is Wendy. Wendy is incredible at co-hosting. Why you love Wendy is
She's
because
witty.
She's sassy. In
Witty
the
Wendy.
best way. She's witty, she's
spunky,
sassy,
she's got,
she's blunt, but in a good way.
and there's like a sprinkle of comedy.
There's a sprinkle of comedy in her voice. And so she's done a really good job when you stay with Wendy, when she talks to you throughout her property, whether it's the pool heat or the pool safety. She's got this wristband that you wear if you're like the water watcher, right? So it's safety, but she gets you to engage with it because when she's talking to you through her copy,
Her
it's
personality
in her
comes
voice.
through.
On the refrigerator, it has her welcome sheet. It's like one sheet of paper, and that is like her brand voice. So what she can start doing is when you're talking to ChatGPT, you can tell it, pay attention to my wit, the little bits and pieces of comedy. Pay attention to my cadence and try to recreate that in the copy. And I want you to do that in ChatGPT. You can create a whole project where you tell it how you want it to spit out the copy, and it'll always use that voice.
It'll be on brand.
Yes, and so that is what you can do. Now that might be a paid feature with ChatGPT, and who knows down the road, but I'm telling you, if you can really harness that voice and have this always spit it out for you,
It's having a full-time customer service rep on your team.
who you have like
Trained.
really trained. Yeah.
That's not ever going to speak out of being tired or sick or late or just not there.
Now let's talk about the next topic here under this umbrella of operational efficiency and automation, which is, I'm not even gonna call it what it is, because you all get so like stressed about it, but just creating checklists for the things that you do in your business. Some people might call them SOPs, standard operating procedures, but then people get all bent out of shape and you think it's this big complicated
I don't like it. I don't like
procedure.
SOPs.
See,
I like
she don't-
checklists.
But it's the same.
I know.
it's
I
the
know.
same
But call it what
thing.
you want. Call it what makes you happy.
Yeah, call it what makes you happy.
Actually, call it what makes. Call it. Name
makes
it.
you
name
get it done.
Yes. Name it. Because I do believe words matter. So name it what is going to encourage you to get it done.
Yeah.
There. I do agree with you on that. All of these things need to be done. So if it's a checklist, if it's a SOP, go with it.
Again, you can buy software that has like, let's get the number one checklist out of there, the cleaning checklist, okay? What needs to be done to clean your specific property?
Each and every time.
Each and every time. So we recommend that you do it yourself. And so while you're doing it, you could talk to your ChatGPT app, your B&B app,
Your B&B bot.
your B&B bot, and say, now I'm doing this, now I'm doing this, and just keep adding to it. And when you're done, say, great, I want you to aggregate this into an entire checklist that anyone
Beautiful.
who follows it will understand.
So beautiful.
And what you could even do, like, again, I said create a project within ChatGPT and say, I'm going to add to this over the course of 3 cleanings. It might change a little bit. I want you to take
Ooh,
everything
that's a good,
and put it in the best order possible. So, but then it can go beyond it. It can go into your inspection checklist. It can go into how you optimize your listing every 3 months, every 6 months, so that if you hire a VA, you now have a checklist, an SOP, for how they can just be you and do the things that you would do to get it done.
Love it.
It's so good.
That's good.
And it doesn't end there. I mean, you can create checklists for everything, and you should, honestly.
Now I'm like, I need to do some of these for my personal home.
Because here's the thing though. When we get upset, this is actually happening right now with a company that we're working with. They get frustrated that I don't understand, I've said this before, and this isn't happening. They're not understanding it. They're not picking it up. And most of the time, it's at the fault of the educator. It's at the fault of the trainer. There's something that you're not doing that's clear.
Communication.
Right.
It always comes back to communication.
So here's what you need to do. When you create this checklist, first of all, you do it, right? That's step number one, you do it. You then create the checklist and you have the person you're training, your trainee, watch you do it. And then you hand off the baton, you watch them do it.
Are you talking about cleaning or just anything?
Anything.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Anything. But
Well,
yes,
what if you're not in
cleaning.
person?
If you're not in person,
Zoom and screen share?
yes. You figure out a way. Like, I'm not going to tell you, like, well, then you get to just skip it.
No,
because-
it's either Zoom, I'll tell you, it's Zoom and screen share, or they can Loom themselves doing it, send it to you, and then review if
What
there's
is
a
a
time
Loom?
zone.
That's what a Loom is.
It's a recording software that can record your screen and you can talk.
Figure it out, I guess is what I'm going to say to you. Watch them do it, or have them do it, take pictures of it, and what questions do they have? Refine your checklist, your SOP. You can't just expect someone to like embody you. You really have to give them the tools, but ChatGPT will make it so much easier.
So much easier. Tip 5, pricing strategy and revenue management. Let's talk money to our B&B bot. Let's dig into ChatGPT and have it help us make more money.
Obviously, again, disclaimer throughout all this content here is you can buy software that has this built into it. But let's say you're just starting out or you want to maybe do this alongside your software.
Alongside for sure.
So obviously,
enhance the current software. Trust but verified.
dynamic pricing software will give you all these answers. So I know there's some of you the Sarahs out there are being like, the dynamic pricing software does this for you. I get you all because I am you.
But if you're a host, you really need to understand.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the first one. It's
Yes.
understanding events, large spikes in demand for your area. When you prompt ChatGPT about the events, you can ask them, like, what events are coming to town over X amount of visitors? You are not just asking, but you're going to receive the answers of when these events are, who is attending these events, and then you really get to understand the who, what, why of those events. So when you start to this is where you get the leg up on the competition. When someone has a booking inquiry, maybe, or just an instant book, you can respond to them with hospitality, like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you're coming in for, XYZ event. It looks so fun. It looks like there's going to be a ton of, you can put some personality into it because you actually understand the event. So think about it. Like a hotel front desk, when that is a spike, like they know who is coming in, why they're coming in, and they talk to you about it. The concierge talks to you about it. You can do that as the host if you are in the know on what is coming to town. So you can already be that voice and know. So you're not caught off guard of like, oh, I didn't even know that was happening here. Trust us, there are so many concerts, conventions that I never ever would know about or have any knowledge of if it wasn't for, first the history of us doing short-term rentals, but now letting the technology help us.
Here's what I would do. For example, there is a website here in Columbus. It's Experience Columbus. So I would tell ChatGPT, I would paste the URL, and I would say, I want you to use the resources on this website page. I want you, though, to tell me of the events they talk about, which ones bring in more than 1,000 visitors to downtown Columbus specifically. And then I want you to tell me of those events, which ones happen annually and which ones are new to the activities this year. This way, especially if you do this at the beginning of the year, you can get a good understanding of, hey, is that oldie but goodie event still happening that I capitalized on last year? And am I going to be able to anticipate a spike or a decrease in revenue because this one event isn't coming back? Or, like different things like that. You can also just get a better understanding of oldie but goodies, repetitive events, and ones that are new this year. Because a lot of times those websites that are local to you will tell you all the events, but not all of them are going to bring a lot of people or a lot of people to the area that's close to your short-term
Right, that's
rental.
going to move the needle for you too, because you could see like which events bring in the most out-of-town travelers. You know, if it's a local event, that's a lot of local traffic, might not impact your rental.
You can also ask ChatGPT things for your booking trends, things like, what are booking trends for short-term rentals in my city or area? And it can provide insights on average booking windows, popular booking days and check-in days, and then different seasonal demand fluctuations. Maybe you're even analyzing a new market.
Contemplating buying in a new area. This would be excellent.
And obviously, like, you can get information from websites like AirDNA, but again, it can't hurt to just add more information to your analysis. So I think it'll help you inform with strategic pricing adjustments based on market trends and staying competitive. And like Annette said, you can even use that information. Maybe you can tell ChatGPT, okay, now take all these events, and my booking window is usually about 14 days. I want you to craft me titles for each major event.
Yeah, that one's a really good one.
Within my booking window that would actually attract people to book with me that are coming for that event, and then tell me the dates that I should put on my calendars to go into my listing and change the title. Like, now we can like start weaving together all this information that we're doing separately with ChatGPT.
It's just up-leveling, up-leveling, up-leveling.
Yes.
The sixth and final tip is email marketing.
Because so many hosts get held up on what to say.
You don't even have to
in their
worry about it.
emails.
You don't even have to worry about it. You've got your friend,
Your B&B bot.
ChatGPT, your B&B bot, that is going to help you write emails. Couple of things here. We do this. I have some emails that I love getting. I have a folder in my Gmail like that are
like
my
inspiration.
I have inspo emails. Yes, I do. And you can take those inspo emails that you like, maybe from, and it doesn't even have to be from a hotel or a short-term rental. It can just be any email that you receive. That can be your inspiration, and you can put that into ChatGPT. Let's give the prompts, Sarah, of how they could use the inspo and the prompts to help them write emails. Well, the first thing is you need to be collecting emails from your guests.
Yes.
That's first of all. So
That's a whole other.
and we have plenty of videos on that, so make sure to check those out. But you obviously need to be collecting your guest emails in order to do this.
I think the most important thing is, maybe we should do a video about this, but training your bot on your brand voice, so you don't have to tell it each and every time what your brand voice is, especially if you level up to the paid version. You can give it parameters about, you can give it your website, you can give it who you are, your family is, what kind of guests you have stay with you often, things about you, whether you're like Wendy, we were talking about host Wendy, where she's witty and sassy and a sprinkle of
You
comedy.
can store all that information.
Or maybe you are more romantic and expressive and like you love like a longer narrative, or whatever that is. It is helpful because we talk about this a lot through all the 6 steps of putting in your brand voice. If we're going to save you time by using a bot, let's like take it to that next level and have it know, no matter when you give it a prompt, you always want to respond in your brand voice. So that's number 1 and most important. And then I would actually take tip 5, where we talked about local events, plug it into this one too, and say, I want you to create 12 emails for me that would go out to my guests within our booking window that highlight these events that are going to attract a lot of guests to our area, to tell them, hey, this is happening in our area. We'd love to come see you for it. You can also, let's say you're going back to guests who have stayed with you before, and you could feed it, you can get really detailed, maybe feed it about the guest behavior, maybe feed the conversation you had with the guest on Airbnb, or the time of the year that they stayed and you want them to come back, whatever information you want to give it. But so many hosts get hooked up or held up on writing the email and what to say. Let the bot do it for you.
Yeah, and it might just be idea generating for you. Yeah, this is where, again, you have to get creative. We have to put some of the work in. We've given you so many ideas, but it's really just to spark you to take action. So on one of these, please, just take action on one of these today. It will really impact your business. And honestly, I can share, like, Sarah uses ChatGPT way more than I do, but it's because she's way more comfortable, and I have to just keep using it more and more. And the more I use it, the more comfortable I'm getting as it also being my business bestie. So really, just start somewhere. Start with the free version. Start slow and steady. Slow and steady wins the race. So start with one of these tips and then lean into it, because it really can be an extra team member for you, someone else for you to work out solutions with. It is game changing. The future is now, and we don't want you to be left behind by not utilizing it.
That's what I want to say as we wrap this up is, and you might disagree with us, and that's okay. We can absolutely have a conversation about it, but I believe it's not going anywhere.
No, it's just going to be more and more. Like, I'm trying to figure out how do I harness it for all of the things. It would be like us not using
Email.
the internet to help us.
Right,
It's like, hey, Sarah, let's go to the phone book and figure out who to help, need to fix our HVAC.
Well,
Who should we
you laugh
call?
about it, but I'm sure there was a time when the internet was introduced, or cell phones were introduced where you could make business calls from anywhere. You didn't have to be at a landline anymore, or sending emails versus mailing something out. There's a point in which major advancements happen, and there are people who adapt and run with it, and there are people who stick to their guns and don't make those changes. So I just think that if you're not at least trying once a week to do something with AI,
Some sort of AI, right?
especially if it's really hard for you to adopt new technology, know that about yourself and just make a really tangible,
Just an action item.
an
Like,
action
hey,
item
I'm going
once
to use
a
it.
week.
Yeah.
Right. And you can't check it off your list.
To prompt, I'm going to get some prompts together and figure out a way for it to help me. Like, just that's the thing, is like, it's going to make your life so much easier.
It really will. And there are ways to make it work for you and your personality type. But let's recap really quick the 6 ways that we use ChatGPT in our Airbnb business, and we know that you could too and really benefit from it. But it's optimizing your listing, building out your guest communication, brand voice, and having it help you answer or respond to difficult conversations, how to shop competitors and analyze what guests love about your competitors and what they don't love about your competitors, building out operational efficiencies, i.e. checklists, pricing strategy, and start making you that revenue manager that I know is within you, and then building out your email marketing plan, which is really just sending a friend, i.e. your guest, an email to invite them to come
Welcome
stay
back.
with you. Yeah, or welcoming them back. So it's not just a tool. ChatGPT is like another team member that's very affordable. Sometimes it's free, depending on how much you use it. And it really will start helping you learn how to work with another team member if you are a solopreneur, or experience what it would be like to have a virtual assistant if you're VA curious. So I'm excited what it can do for your business and how it can help you get through it all. So with that, I am Sarah Caracan.
I'm Annette Grant, and together we are. Thanks for visiting.